All right, let's get ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ian Loth, and I would like to welcome everyone to our webinar today. We're going to be talking about consignment items and how you can make the most money by utilizing them in your fundraising events. Let me make some introductions here. We are your hosts. My name is Ian. As I said, I'm the creative director and managing editor of Winspire News, and I have with me today our Southeast Regional Event Consultant, Jason Green. Jason?
Thanks, Ian. Happy to be here. Hello, everybody out there.
We're excited to have you all with us here today, and we are equally excited to be joined by our special guest, benefit auctioneer, author and speaker, and aficionado on all things fundraising, Benjamin Farrell. Thank you for joining us, Ben.
Ian and Jason, thank you so much for having me today, and special thanks to everyone who's logged in today. We're so excited to talk about fundraising auctions, and hopefully everyone can leave today with a little extra information helping them raising money here in the midst of our busiest auction season. So thanks for having me.
Great, thanks, Ben. So we're going to jump into it right here. We have three main things that we're going to cover today. And throughout this webinar, we plan to share some insight we've gathered from external data, customer surveys, and best practices that we here at Winspire and Ben have learned from helping over 7,000 nonprofits from across the country just last year. So we hope you get a lot out of it. We hope you learn a lot. And whether it has to do with travel items or just your auction or event in general, I think there's a lot that can translate to help support your cause. So here's what we're going to cover today. We have three main things. What we're going to do is start off by covering the three reasons why travel performs so well in auctions and raffles. Then Jason and I are going to talk about the four common challenges that you auction chairs or auction committees face out there. And Jason's going to finish off with some of the four key strategies to consider when using no-risk travel. And Ben's going to interject throughout with some of his personal anecdotes and stories. So let's get right into it here. We thought it'd be a good starting point to discuss, what's going on in the travel industry and how that's translating into a massive opportunity for charities. But first, what do we mean by experiential travel? For the purposes of this webinar, think about a complete package, which includes airfare, lodging, and a planned experience at these destinations. Examples include, behind-the-scenes tours in Napa Valley, red carpet access at Top Award Show, access to the legendary Masters Golf Tournament, or even a race named after your name or race named after your honor at the Churchill Downs. Studies have shown that for over a decade now, experiential travel has been a top seller in auctions and raffles. We want to highlight a few areas that speak to the opportunity this creates to redirect travel budgets. That's going to be key here, redirecting travel budgets through your fundraising events. There are three main reasons why travel performs so well at event fundraisers. One, because travel is unique. Two, because it has very broad appeal, all right, it's popular. And three, because people already have a budget for it. So let's look a little deeper at each of these to understand why it can be such a great fundraising tool. First, we have the uniqueness of travel, right? With virtually unlimited options for destinations and experiences all over the globe, you have a lot to work with, right? This is especially important when you're dealing with so many charity auction events year after year that are filled with a lot of the same auction items, right? The challenge is to stand out and still provide unique opportunities for people to support your organization and your cause. And that's simply getting more and more difficult in today's fundraising world. In no large part due to the fact that because donors attend so many gosh darn events, right? We know this because we ask them. In fact, we survey each of the thousands of winning bidders who redeem Winspire experiences each year, first and foremost to gather feedback about their trip, but also to see if we can learn a little bit more about the event fundraising space from their perspective, right? Our surveys have shown that 76%, that's 3 out of every 4 donors, attend over 4 fundraising events per year. So that really puts the burden on you, the event organizer, to give these people something unique and something different each and every time.
Ian, that's an excellent point. In fact, for everyone listening, I can personally attest to seeing donors. And one point last year, a couple came to me and they said, well, Ben, it's certainly great to see you again here for the 4th time in 2 weeks. Now, this was just 1 month out of the year. These are auction veterans. They told me two things. Number one, well, we are tired, and number two, we have already spent our fundraising budget here in these first several items. So for everyone listening, this raises your awareness to really look at that fundraising calendar, really make sure that you're out in front of your competitive charities there, so people are arriving to your event with the intention of winning something at your event.
That's an absolutely great point, Ben. And it breeds the question: how do you stand out? When it comes to your auction, big ticket items like travel can really add that wow factor that helps you stand out in everything from your pre-promotional materials to just the event day excitement. And I know we all love our gift baskets, right? But a great question we always like to ask is: would you rather take out the donor to lunch the following week that bid $20 on a gift basket, or $5,000 on a travel package?
And Ian, I love the gift basket as well, but I think if everyone here watching can look closely, you might see a gym membership or a teeth whitening package in there. And while we see these at every event, they certainly have their place. What we're talking about today is really standing out with unique travel, so your auction item can speak to the level of your event. So really important to have a way to stand out head and shoulders above the other events.
That's so true, Ben. And part of the reason it's so important to stand out is because these donors that you're selling to are such sophisticated buyers, right? These are successful people who know what they want and they know how they want to use their money. Fundraising events are great because they create that connection to your cause. But as far as live and silent auctions go, you need to offer things that are going to get them excited. Your one night only storefront needs to have quality items that stand out for every category and demographic in the room.
And Ian, I have often said that we call this a one night only storefront, but when you get down to the live auction, you basically have 45 minutes. So in 45 minutes out of the entire year, you need to make the maximum amount for your charity. And sophisticated buyers absolutely know what they want. And so I just want to encourage those listening today, start by asking your donors what they want. Ask your board what they want, so that when they arrive, you have delivered on a travel package where they are interested in going. So now they are both excited, they're inspired, and they're also grateful that you now have a package that is desirable to them.
That's a great point, Ben. And I love how you say, going around the room, ask your board members about, what is on their bucket list. And I thought that actually is a good opportunity to ask you, the audience out there, what is on your bucket list, right? If you guys want to take to the Twitter sphere or even in the little comments section on the GoToWebinar here, let us know what is on your bucket list. You can use the hashtag #ExperienceCharity throughout the webinar. Let us know where you want to go. If you could go anywhere in the world, what would it be? And I'll start reading off some of those that you post. Again,
and Ian and Jason,
go ahead.
I'll speak specifically to a bucket list and how this can really drive major revenue to your event. This was simply 2 weeks ago. We had tickets to the Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees. They were quality tickets, included airfare, and included a hotel stay. And a gentleman began bidding, and let me tell you, it was fast bidding, 35, 45, 55, 6,500, and the bidding stopped at 6,500. But because this donor was so excited about his opportunity, he stood up and bid against himself, raising it to 75, 85, and stopping at $10,000. Now, he reached over, grabbed the microphone, which was in my hand, to scream to the audience, "Go Red Sox." He was so pumped up about going to this game. And look, he raised the amount that he was willing because he came with a budget in mind. He knew he was willing to spend $10,000, and when no one bid against him, he raised the bar himself. Absolutely fantastic.
That's great, Ben. Yeah, it's a good story. And people love their bucket list items, and everyone wants to go, and people love to travel. And that's actually one of the first reasons, or the second reason in our list of the reasons that travel sells, is because travel is popular, right? And who doesn't love a vacation? People want to experience life through travel. And it just so happens that the sort of donors that you are trying to identify and develop into major donors travel a lot. In our surveys, we found that 2/3 of winning bidders poll, it'd take 3 or more trips per year, which to me sounds somewhat average, if not on the kind of upper echelon there. But if you dig a little deeper, we found that almost half take 4 or more trips per year, and that's just the beginning. You get a little deeper, and we found that almost 20%, 17% of charity auction patrons say they take 6 or more trips per year. These are folks that I wish I was hanging out with a little bit more often, right? But our point here is being that your supporters and charity event attendees are already traveling a lot. So why not give them an opportunity to access unique and priceless travel while supporting your cause?
And it's also important to note here that people who are taking multiple trips are looking for more than just the destination. It is the destination and the experience which can be so motivating. So savvy travelers, they've been to many places in the world. When you combine the ease of going when they want to go, add an experience, a unique experience, it makes it much more desirable.
That's so true, Ben. I already have a couple people here saying. We got Brittany, who says her dream destination would be in Ireland, which is someplace I haven't been, but I heard it's very beautiful. Some great golf, actually. But keep submitting those destinations. We'll keep reading them off. But yeah, if done correctly, a positive winning bidder experience is a great way to generate some buzz for your organization. Whether it's word of mouth or on social media, people like to share their experiences. And when it's your nonprofit that's sending these donors on the trip of a lifetime, it's a great way to stay engaged and strengthen that relationship because it was your organization that made it all happen. Again, you'll see that Experience Charity hashtag there. You can come up with one of your own and use it throughout your event and encourage them to use it while they're on their vacation to post photos and stay engaged with the cause and bring it full circle back to your mission.
I'll tell you that what we say it almost as a joke, but because it certainly generates a lot of laughter, but it's absolutely true. When you have a unique experience, when you go, I tell the audience, just think when you win this, what a fantastic Facebook status update this will be for you when you're sitting there live in the Super Bowl and supporting your charity at the same time. So although we say it lighthearted, we actually want them to do this. We want them to share this experience because it does promote your charity and it does promote your event. So keeping your charity top of mind out there in their social networks.
That's great. And yeah, we have Amber here who says her dream destination is Tahiti or the French Polynesian Islands, which talk about a good timeline photo that you can post on Facebook. Man, I bet you could get some good stuff out there. So keep submitting those. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Brittany. The third item on the list for the reason that travel sells is because of travel budgets, right? There is a massive travel budget in North America, and a travel budget is simply the money that people set aside each year for vacations. Most well-run fundraising events only aim at securing donations from a donor's philanthropic budget. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that, right? But it's important to recognize that there is a separate travel budget that also exists, and this can open the door to a new revenue stream for your nonprofit. According to American Express, more than half of Americans have a travel budget. But we all know that percentage is probably much higher when you're looking at the audience of your typical charity auction dinner gala. We often underestimate the giving power within a fundraising event, but having access to a travel provider year-round can help you condition your supporters to plan their travel around what you can offer at your events. How much potential revenue is there out there? Well, our big picture aspiration here at Winspire would be to help nonprofits redirect the $600 billion, that's billion with a B, spent every year on leisure travel back to our clients and their causes. In fact, 42% of the donors that bid on travel packages stated that they have a budget of at least $10,000 a year for these types of vacations. Again, these are folks that I wish were my life coach, but they have money to spend and they're spending it in other places where it could be towards your cause.
Well, and this is good information for you when you're planning your events because your MC, your benefit auctioneer, can speak directly to the audience and identify, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we are all making our plans. We're all traveling somewhere this year. When you're looking at your calendar, plan on taking a trip while supporting tonight's charity. Really can be impactful.
So true, Ben. And as we mentioned before, we often underestimate the giving power within a fundraising event. A recent study on the philanthropy landscape showed that a huge number of donors, 47%, say they had more to give. So if this is the case, we need to continue looking for new ways to give these folks opportunities to give and support their favorite cause.
And this is so critical, that knowing that people come to the event, they have a budget in mind of what they're going to spend, and if they bid on and don't win, find a way to reach out to those second place bidders. Remember, those second place bidders, they're there prepared to give money. We hate for anyone to leave without an opportunity to support. Using travel packages allows you to reach out to that second place bidder, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, that selling multiples of these packages allows all of the committed supporters to win.
That's so true, Ben. So we've established now that travel sells. We've seen why it can be such a powerful tool for raising money and making donors happy. But how should you go about getting it for your fundraiser, right? It's the age-old question. Should you go about getting travel by yourself, or should you use a travel provider like Winspire? And one thing we want to make clear here at Winspire is that we want you, as the auction committee, to get as many items donated as possible, right? That's why we offer tools to help our clients in the procurement process. Here are two of our most popular resources, which are designed to help you secure better items for your event. And we'll tell you how you can go download these resources for free at the end of the webinar, but there's the address right there if you want to just type it in and download these for free. So one of the main reasons to partner with a travel provider as opposed to doing it by yourself is to limit your risk. Donors are more interested in open-ended travel because it has the highest perceived value, right? They don't want to be told when they can and can't travel. But trying to create open-ended travel packages on your own is inherently risky because you're dealing with so many moving parts. Let's look at a quick example. It's a story that we're all familiar with. A well-meaning board member offers their vacation condo only to have it be put up for sale or go through renovations or get used for some other purpose before the winning bidder can fulfill their trip. A good travel partner takes on the risk of open-ended travel along with the time, package components, and overall detail it takes to create a happy winning bidder. For instance, within our service, a winning bidder has up to a year to begin booking the booking process. And when you're dealing with a charity auction gala in any given room, you can't predict who will bid on an item, where they're from, who they might give it to, and when they'll want to travel, which can be extremely difficult to manage when you're dealing with donated travel components. And this is one of the main reasons that Winspire was started and why Consignment Travel has become such a valuable fundraising tool, is to eliminate the amount of risk a nonprofit has to take on in order to use travel within their auction.
Well, and I could just share a personal story that my wife and I attended an event and we won a great weekend at a beach property. But as an auctioneer, of course, I'm working many weekends. And so we went back and forth going through the charity and the donor, back and forth, and the weekend just never worked out. Their property was rented, and then when I was available, it wasn't. When the property was available, I was not, and then it expired. And although, of course, we were happy to make the donation, we never really had that opportunity to fulfill our winning weekend. So that was definitely a challenge.
Absolutely, Ben. So now going on, that explains the whole no-risk side of consignment travel. But what are some of the other ways that it can help you, the auction chair, specifically? I'm going to let Jason here talk about a couple of the common challenges addressed by no-risk travel.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. We've been privileged to work with over 28,000 events in the last 7 years. And after every event, we survey and we try to learn from every event that we're involved with. In addition, we actually started as a full-service event production company. So we have a great understanding of the real obstacles, the challenges, and the trade-offs that you're faced with when you're putting together an event. Our clients have told us that using a travel service provider helps them to address 4 what we call common challenges that I'd like to share with you. The first challenge, of course, you all know this, limited time and resources. Let's face it, the quality of your auction items often suffers simply due to the lack of time and resources you have to plan for your event. Auction items are often treated like just another checkbox, where filling your auction tables with anything is often the focus, regardless of the ultimate quality. This is really true when it comes to travel. You just don't have enough time to put together vacation packages. It's a full-time job. Last year, as an example, I worked with a client. She'd always put together her own packages. And she told me that it usually took her about 40 to 50 hours to put the package together. And then it would take her the same amount of time post-event to manage the winning bidders, to make the reservations, to handle all the booking, changes, everything. Obviously, she was pretty excited to learn that we were out there to help.
Well, and I love this photo right here, everyone. If you look on the table, this reminds me of so many groups that I work with. The first thing we do is we print off a list of all the items that we had last year, and we assign those items to committee members for this year. So we get a lot of recurring gifts. So you want to make sure you are using this data, and when you're asking for new items, that you are upping the ante. And how many of you development personnel have I spoken to that just said, Ben, I'm spending so much time trying to get all the details together. Again, if you can just select something that is fantastic, the event is over and your work is done.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the benefits of working with a quality travel provider. We're going to do all the heavy lifting for you. You can reserve any of our unique experiences within just a couple minutes over the phone with an event consultant, or you can do the whole thing yourself on our website. And what we've done to kind of do all that heavy lifting for you is we've created an online shopping experience where you can browse through 200 plus package trips. We've given you the ability to create a wish list on our website of your favorite experiences and then share that and discuss it with committee and board members. We provide all the promotional, display, and winning bidder materials for you to download right from the website. And after your event, you just let us know what's sold, and then we'll send out the travel vouchers to your winning bidders, and that's it. You're done. We take it from there. And obviously, this is going to help you save a lot of time for yourself and for your committee, and it lets you redirect volunteer and committee resources to areas where you know that they can have a greater impact on your bottom line. At the end of the day, working with a no-risk travel provider just gives you peace of mind.
Well, this really helps for the committee when you're discussing what items you want to put into your live auction. You can create a nice list of opportunities, share that so that you have a consensus in the decision-making process so that both committee and board, everyone's on the same page, and you in charge of the event will not hear post-event, wow, I wish you'd had this or I wish you'd had something else, because everyone came to the event really with that all on the same decision.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that goes back to, people having more money to spend at events. The second challenge is just not having enough quality donations. And how about this scenario? So you're at your first auction committee meeting, 6 to 9 months out from your event, you're brainstorming. And everybody's excited. Everybody's raising their hands with ideas and offering connections in their network. And hey, somebody knows the president of a big record label, and they can get a personal dinner with Taylor Swift. This is going to be the best auction ever. And then a few months roll by, and it turns out that connection wasn't as solid as we originally thought. But we did get a great autographed Taylor Swift CD. And this is when the panic sets in. And, none of those big items that you were hoping for come through. Or maybe your team did a great job and they got you a lot of great smaller donations. But even when you bundle those together, you're still missing that kind of big ticket or halo item to generate some buzz. There's just so many things that can go wrong in the procurement process. I mean, maybe your board members or volunteers aren't as involved as you want them to be, or you don't have an established donor network, or maybe you got a late start, or maybe this is your first time going through this and you just didn't quite know what to expect. With a no-risk travel provider, you can secure big-ticket items early in the procurement process and lead the charge with an exciting item in your back pocket. And this really helps inspire your procurement process, because it's easier to get donations when you've already got a couple great things in hand. People are also more likely to make that donation if somebody shows up and says, we've got this trip to Hawaii and this trip to Tahiti, and we would love to have something of yours to go along with it. With no-risk travel, you create a shopping experience at your event. Items people want and something for everybody. And you don't have to present that same condo or Diamond Club baseball tickets. I always say, the cabin in the woods or the beach house. You don't have to have those year after year after year. You can mix it up as much as you want.
That's not to say that your board member's beach house shouldn't be used. It's a generous donation. You should absolutely use it. But offering a truly unforgettable experience that is open-ended and with limited blackout dates is truly next level. let the donors who are new to that event, go grab that, that beach house. As your travel provider, we're here to support your financial goals. So we want you to do that.
True.
Well, and I'd just like to add here, when you say beach house, it always brings up the same thing for me, which is oftentimes secondary beach homes are income properties for many donors, and therefore some of those peak travel opportunities are not available. Those dates are simply not available. So for everyone listening, here's a great little something that we always tell the audience, which is when something is not available during peak travel times, we simply say, as your charity of choice and as your auctioneer, I'm going to protect your skin from the harmful rays of the sun, and I'm going to keep you from attending this location in the hot summer months. So people get a laugh out of that, and it's a nice way to kind of take the edge off of not being able to go on the 4th of July when people love to travel to the beach.
Right, definitely.
So the third challenge for many of you auction communities out there is your ever-increasing revenue goals. Obviously, every nonprofit and charity wants to continue to grow and expand their mission. And in fact, the revenue goals almost always increase while more resources, more budget, and new strategies are rarely deployed. Fairly soon after you experience the high of reaching your goals, reality sets in and the stress starts all over again with new and higher goals at the next event. So one of the main strategies we're talking about here today is this idea of redirecting travel budgets, right? Again, we're not talking about the philanthropic budget, which they may have already spent at the last fundraiser they went to a few weeks back. This is the money that even average folks like you and I put aside for vacation travel each year. If they see a trip they like, chances are they already have the funds to make the purchase. And if they win it, they get an amazing travel experience that makes it even better because they associate it with helping your cause. As a revenue strategy for nonprofits, this goes well beyond the immediate return of one individual package at a single fundraising event. What we're talking about here is a long-term revenue strategy, because when it's your organization who is sending your donors on the trip of a lifetime, they're going to come back and continue spending thousands of dollars at your events time and time again.
And this slide is what I want everyone to know. You can speak directly to your audience and ask them.
Hey Ben, you're coming across as a little muffled. Do you want to try to adjust?
There we go. Is that better?
That's much better. Thanks.
Oh, sorry about that. Really speak directly to your audience and let them know. For those of you looking ahead, planning your travel, and speak directly to this. We know you're planning your vacations. We're going to ask that you plan your vacation with us tonight so that you can enjoy the great experience and support this amazing charity.
Very good, man. The fourth challenge is cultivating major donors, and this ties well into that long-term revenue strategy, right? This is, it's a common challenge that we hear time and time again, right? With an aging donor base, retention rates are always a challenge across the industry. Many of you know this as donor fatigue, right? And in today's well-connected, ever-changing world, there's new competition popping up everywhere you look. So donor management is difficult, we know. But offering big-ticket items, these amazing trips, can help you cultivate exactly the kind of donors you want to attract, identify, and retain. Like I said, right, the quality of an auction item is in the immediate revenue, yes, but it can mean so much more than that, right? When it goes back to the gift basket, right? Would you rather take the donor out to lunch who bought the $20 gift basket or the $5,000 trip? It's an opportunity for you to follow up with them about their trip, hear about their experiences, talk to them about where else they want to go in the future, and really turn that into a cycle with this donor who is going to come back time and time again because they know they can get it from your organization. So now let's move into the strategy of it all, right? We're able to get this detailed simply because we focus on this one thing 365 days out of the year, right? And if we take a step back for a moment, it really is a simple concept and a simple process. Our clients, each and every one of our clients that we work with, have access to a dedicated event consultant like Jason here. Jason here being the Southeast Regional Event Consultant that focuses on one thing every day, and that's how to help you reach your fundraising goals. So I'm going to let Jason talk about the key strategies here.
Thanks, Ian. So as an event consultant, what I do is I will generally spend 15 to 30 minutes and sometimes much more just learning about your event history. I want to learn about your goals, the specifics of your event, and that way I can help provide some insight on the selection, the placement, the promotion, and the profitability of no-risk travel. In a relatively short amount of time, you and your committee can walk away with a turnkey solution for your event. I'm going to do 99% of the work. You're going to keep 100% of the profit. So I'm going to highlight just a few of the topics you should be thinking about.
Well, and everyone be thinking who's listening here, what do you believe your audience would desire the most? In fact, a great example, when we are helping the arts-based community, we know that one particular audience loves traveling to Europe. They adore Paris, and so that we are matching the item with the likes of the audience. Really important to consider when making selection.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge piece. One of the things that you want is, first of all, any of you that have gone through this before know that the shopping experience when looking for great travel is the fun part. Enjoy that process. You're going to spend some time looking at everything that's available. Create your own bucket list and get your committee involved early. I mean, your committee, your board member, your possible attendees, talk to them quickly. Step 2, know your attendees, know your audience. Talk to your best donors in advance and find out where they want to travel. I had one enterprising client, they sent out a survey to all of their RSVPs, just simply asking them, what's your bucket list item? Where are you planning your vacation next year? Gauge the potential interest and the viability based on prior sales. Think about what worked, what didn't work, and then think about the ways you can use these packages as a long-term strategy. I've heard many times from clients that their people came back the second year, the third year, talking about the trips and what they hope for this year's event.
Well, and it also shows a level of gratitude on behalf of the charity that you are respectful of the wishes of your donor base. So when you have asked where would you like to travel, then you deliver on a package that they can bid on. They bid on and win. They do feel appreciated, and they know that you are doing what you can to make the most for their experience. So I think it does great for building relationships and keeping that cycle of giving moving forward.
Cool. All very good points. Real quick, I wanted to jet in here with a couple more dream destinations. We have Charles, who would love to visit the Amazon, which I thought was a great addition here. Continue. Hey, if you guys have a Twitter account out there, use that experience hashtag or experience charity hashtag and let us know where you want to go.
I want to go to the Bourbon Trail.
The Bourbon Trail. I could use some bourbon.
One of the things we encourage our clients to look at is just the purpose of each and every auction item. And it's something that rarely gets talked about or rarely gets discussed. You're just excited to have things in the auction, but you really should be thinking about that. It's important to, there's just so much happening with the event, but it's important to know the purpose of everything that you're auctioning off. And when you know your audience really well, there's some great strategies you can use. Having a donor see something in the auction that they specifically requested has tremendous impact. And at the same time, it is important to select packages that have a broad appeal as it increases the amount of potential bidders. A good rule of thumb is to look for packages that have the highest perceived value. And you want to offer the package, airfare, lodging, experiences, and you want to know what sells in your region. And, I want to talk about one misconception that I hear a lot, and it's the misconception that local travel does well because of familiarity. We're all here and we all travel to these 2 destinations, put together a special package just for that. It really doesn't work that way. Just because of familiarity doesn't make it special. Traveling from one side of the country to another feels much more valuable than a weekend trip to Hilton Head or Key West.
And I think this answers, I saw the question here. Sorry we didn't get to it sooner. Anna Martin, she writes, I come from a smaller community in the Pacific Northwest, and many of your trips are big ticket items to faraway places. And so I keep looking for maybe trips closer to my geographical area. And that's what this really speaks to. You want those big ticket items because you want to offer things that people are going to pay those big bucks for so that they can go have a great time and then bring it full circle back to your nonprofit. Couple other bucket list items: Lisa Coleman, Wimbledon, and then Renee Duman. We say Norway to go back to the heritage. I love that. And we got another Ireland from Janet. So if you guys
are already going this year.
Who's already going this year for your 50th birthday? Happy birthday, Janet. We love it. All right, great.
So let me talk a little bit about some other purposes that we see for our items. And a lot of times I'll see clients complementing a theme with a travel package. So just a couple examples. They're having a Mardi Gras party and they couple it with New Orleans jazz and dining. That's an easy one. Or maybe they're doing a Paris theme and they couple that with a Paris package. Or maybe they're doing a Derby party. Well, how about tickets to the Derby? So keep in mind that a good travel partner also can customize packages upon request. So if you've got an idea for what you want, ask. Clients have had greater success in enhancing a donation by packaging travel components around it. Perfect example. I have a lot of clients, and I'm sure many of you do this as well. You get a donation from Disney. And we've had great success pairing that with an airfare and hotel package to create a complete travel experience. Now you've taken your park hopper tickets and you've turned that into a family vacation. So, just think about the buyer categories in the room and make sure that you've got something for everyone.
And so Jason, what do you think about this? We got a question from Linda. She said, do you find that a range of items works better in price range? We have a mix of donors.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben can probably speak to this as well. You want to absolutely have a wide range of price points, and not just with the Winspire trips, but with with all of your donations. You want something for everybody in the room to bid on. Notice I didn't say you want something for everybody in the room, because you don't want to have an equal number of trips to patrons. You want that competitive bidding.
Well, and that's absolutely true. The fundraising auction event, you want to have as many opportunities for everyone to give that you can. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later with raffle opportunities, live auction opportunities, silent and spotlight. So it's very important and an excellent question. When you're looking at this slide here, I just want to share briefly a very successful event in North Carolina to complement the theme. It was a wine tasting event, weekday auction, everyone there for a wine pairings and wine tastings. They had a sommelier describing the wines. The entire room completely excited, fired up about wine. And then what did we offer them? Their choice of a trip to wine country in California. Not just one trip, but we had 3 trips. So this way we have the broad appeal if they want Sonoma or they want Napa, if they want private tour or they want just to be touring on their own. But this was so effective because they were in the mindset of wine, thinking wine, and now here's your chance to travel and experience it for yourself. A perfect fit.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, wine does very, very well. Everybody loves the Napa Sonoma Valley. One best practice is just gauging the interest of bidders in advance. Choreograph the packages that you choose for your event. When you're working with consignment packages, there are packages that should have a predetermined interest level. Okay? You want to think about price point. Obviously, every event is different, but you don't want to push the level so high that you're pushing it beyond the point where you start to limit your pool of bidders. And then you want to consider how specific the package may be. For instance, major international travel or a really specific location or experience, maybe it's not going to appeal to your full audience. A perfect example is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. For some, this is definitely on their bucket list, but others have no interest whatsoever. And then finally, just know the difference between a package that captures a travel budget versus a discretionary budget. And generally a package that caters to a family, a couple, or a group, that's travel budget. A package that caters to a hobby or a friend experience is going to capture a discretionary budget. Really simple. When you think about a couple bidding on a package, are they both excited to go on the trip? Then it's travel budget. Is one asking the other which friend they can take? Now you're in the discretionary budget.
And just for fun, of course, if you are appealing to someone on that discretionary budget and someone wins, it's great for your auctioneer to turn to that person's spouse or guest and say, well, it looks like they've purchased their trip for the night. I think we need to find something for you so you can plan your next trip.
Nice. Absolutely.
All right, moving on. We got about 15 minutes left here, so we're going to keep this going.
So when you're looking at your potential consignment packages, it's important to do your due diligence. Like it says, become an educated buyer. Read and understand the fine print. Ask about the end-to-end process. Know exactly what the winning bidder should expect. That's so important. And then get it in writing. It's just important to ensure that you are offering the best packages available and that your fundraising team can confidently communicate to your potential donors what their expectations should be.
And also important for you as the staff person, what do you expect post-event, and how easy will this be for your donor to fulfill the winning travel? Very important.
And clients often don't realize the different avenues they have to raise money with the service. So let's talk about placement. Thinking about where consignment travel items sell best, it generally goes in this order. You have your live auction. You have your super silent auction. Super silent is a little bit newer. It's basically a special table that's set aside just for your very best silent auction items. You can use lighting, you can use a digital display or some other presentation pieces to set this table apart from the rest of your silent auction. There's people at your event that they would love to support your cause, but there are people who will not raise their hands in a live auction, and a super silent is a great way to get them involved. And then you have your silent auction, your raffle, and then an online auction. In my experience, clients are going to use 3 to 5 packages at their event. Depending on the makeup of your auction, you might be splitting that up throughout the live, the super silent, the silent, and so on. There's a lot of nuances involved here. A lot of it's depending on what you already have donated and the makeup and the layout of your event. And every event's different, but be sure to look at your overall auction and just plan accordingly. One thing I don't recommend is filling your entire auction with consignment items. Keep the number exclusive trips small, unique, and keep it special.
Yeah, and just remember, benefit auctions are often like your retirement account. Diversifying is a key to success. So you want to make sure you have opportunities, as we've said before, for donors to support you in all of these areas.
Great. Another best practice is in promoting your event. And you want to set the tone that the event is a fundraiser first and foremost, and then a party second. So I encourage all of you to look at the next event promotion material or invitation you receive in the mail and ask yourself if it looks like a great party or if it looks like a fundraiser with a great party. And when it comes to selecting your travel packages, pre-event promotion is key. You want to condition your donors in advance that you will be offering travel. You want to get the word out to your entire supporter base, even if they may not be attending the event. Identify the buyers in advance, which not only helps with package selection, but also helps with driving up your profit and selling packages multiple times and multiplying your profit. You want to find out where your donors want to go and offer that opportunity through your event. So this can, help those overall donor relationships. Think about how much better or cool and more pizzazz your invites can be if they include this incredible trip to, the Polynesian Islands, like we said, right? During the event, it's just as important for your team to be aware of the consignment items. It's important for them to know that the consignment items are different and that they should be treated that way. They should be one of just a few of the wow factors in your event, but you want to use them to your advantage. So you want to have volunteers, committee members, and partners who you can coach on the strategy that you want to have around these consignment items. And especially with your benefit auctioneer, Ben can attest to this. You want to talk to your benefit auctioneer, let them know they have the ability to sell a package multiple times, and give them the tools to do that.
So yeah, I will just quickly tell you that selling multiples is by far the most effective way to maximize your profits when it comes to using a consignment package. And your auctioneer needs to be fully aware. So we always recommend you're working with your auctioneer well in advance of your event. Number one, they understand your audience, they understand your packages, and they can speak directly to those motivating factors of the audience so that you can raise the most money possible.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of profit, that's the goal with consignment. We want to maximize your potential for success. For me, profit is the money, obviously, that you're going to make the night of the event, but it's also the lifetime value of the donors that you identify. So let's talk a little bit about setting yourself up for some success here. When it comes to setting a reserve price, you want to establish the amount of profit you want prior to selling the package, and then just add that number on top of your cost and set that reserve. Ensure it will be properly represented within your live, silent, and online raffles. This amount really should be based on how the package supports your revenue goals, whether you have an interested bidder already identified, and the income and generosity potential in the room. So many times we see clients use a flat dollar amount or a percentage above the cost, but really this is on a case-by-case basis. Ultimately, you should set your reserve price based on your comfort level and your fundraising goals. If you really want to maximize your profit, so Ben just touched on this a minute ago, set yourself up for success and sell packages multiple times. This is a huge advantage when you're working with a consignment partner. 98% of our packages can be sold multiple times. It really gives you that freedom and flexibility to increase your profit and identify additional donors. In a live auction setting, the key is someone like Ben, a quality benefit auctioneer. In a silent or online auction setting, the key is capitalizing on competitive bidding to identify additional potential buyers. Your travel partner can walk you through some scenarios where you can maximize multiple sales.
And I just cannot emphasize this anymore. In fact, we could probably have a 40-hour course on the best way to multiply these sales at the event. But so simply, remember, when people attend an event together, they are like-minded, they're often friends, they're business colleagues. When you have a unique travel opportunity, let several people go. Recently, the wine event I just described, we said, here it is, your choice, Napa or Sonoma. We begin the selling process. Everyone in the room understood that if they booked this on their own, it could be somewhere in the $8,000 to $9,000 range. As the selling went from 2 would have been 3, would have been 4, would have been 5, and at $6,000, when the bidding is a frenzy, you hit the brakes. Ladies and gentlemen, you all are bidding out of control. I think I, as your auctioneer, I would like to help you. Not spend 8, not spend 7, but at $6,000, if a group of you want to go, you can go. Can I get 5 hands in the air at 6,000? The audience, they understand they've got a great opportunity. They can go when they want to go. They can go together, and the hands went up, sold once, twice, 3, 4, sold 5 times. So that is 5 times the profit on one item. Absolutely the way to go.
Yeah, definitely a huge tool. I see there's a couple of you guys have a couple questions that we'll address here. We're just going to get through the rest of the webinar, and then we can answer those. So on to the next piece.
So, as we've talked about this multiple times now, your profit should also be considered in the context of the donors that you can attract, identify, or retain. And, leveraging a full service travel agency not only reduces your costs on the back end, but it ensures a positive winning bidder experience. And that's going to reflect on your organization and your event. At the end of the day, your winners aren't going to remember Winspire as much as they're going to remember this amazing event that they went to where they won that awesome package that was the trip of their life. So a good travel partner is also going to have full flexibility to just customize that trip further based on the winning bidder's requirements and just help them manage the entire process for your organization. And, when you have a partnership with a travel provider, it really gives you the confidence and flexibility to seek out underwriters in advance for specific packages that you want to use. And underwriting is an amazing tool that very few organizations utilize. Not only does this give you, now you're talking about 100% of the proceeds are going to the organization, but now your donor has an awesome opportunity to have a larger impact and a recognition opportunity within the auction. Giving a supporter the opportunity to be recognized in the live auction for donating a once-in-a-lifetime trip, that could be a huge motivator for them. Absolutely.
Well, it's very important that this is far greater recognition for a sponsor or donor, that they're having a live announcement made from the microphone. Their name is on the screen. We have this great opportunity thanks to our sponsor blank, insert their name here. Great recognition. You can even have your auctioneer recognize that sponsor at their table. So really far better than what we often see, which is a list of sponsors maybe in the back page of a program. This really puts a spotlight on your sponsor.
Yeah, and it's also, sorry to jump in.
No, you're in total, of course.
But it's also a great way when you're talking to potential underwriters, say, how would you like to turn your $3,000 gift into a $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 gift for the organization? And that makes a difference.
Absolutely. Multiply their money. All right, guys. Well, just to finish up here, we just have a few minutes left. I want to close by just talking about the three things to consider when you do end up choosing a travel partner. When you are choosing, you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence. We recommend that you look at the track record and background of these companies you work with, what they have in their portfolio, and how they build and source their packages. Not to mention what resources they provide to support you and your winning bidders, especially through the process. Make sure you're getting references from clients, getting references from winning bidders, as well as trusted partners. Offering open-ended travel also means that this is a long-term relationship, so make sure you're doing your homework.
Well, and I just want to add for everyone listening today, very important from my perspective as an auctioneer, because never has there been a time in my fundraising career that I received more emails and phone calls from this wide variety of people offering some sort of experience. And the further I look into it, not all are really no risk travel. There are a lot of contingency. So I really want everyone to really do your due diligence before you choose a partner.
Great. And before we go, just wanted to highlight a few resources for you auction committees out there. Everyone in attendance today can gain access to our Winspire news blog. You can subscribe for weekly fundraising trips. We cover everything from event fundraising to no-risk travel to donor development. You can visit that at blog.winspireme.com. We also have a quarterly contest. We give away $1,000 in auction items to one lucky blog subscriber. So if you subscribe to Winspire News, you become eligible to win. Our next drawing is on April 6th, where we're going to give away 2 framed and autographed MLB jerseys for your auction. You can check out more information at u.winspireme.com/giveaway. And lastly, we have our resource library. Like I mentioned before, we have plenty of resources out there for you, the auction committee, both pre-event, at the event. Like our silent auction bid sheets, our templates are probably some of our most popular, as well as like an auction catalog template. So check those out. You can just check that out at u.winspireme. And I just wanted to thank you all for joining us today. And a special thanks goes out to our guest, Benjamin Farrell, for tagging along with us. Thanks, Ben.
Well, thank you both for having me join you today and everyone on the call. I just want to tell you that for 2015, fundraising auctions are off to an amazing success. Several record-breaking auctions so far this year. I share that so that you know that donors are arriving, they're inspired, they're engaged, they're giving more money, and that positivity really is contagious. So I want to wish everyone the most success with their fundraising event, and glad that you joined us today, and thanks to Winspire for having me.
Thanks, Great. Ben. Thanks, Ben. And so those of you whose questions we didn't quite get to, we'll be reaching out individually, and as well as everyone else, we'll be sending you a recording of this webinar that we encourage you to share with your committees. And yeah, just thank you very much, and stay tuned for many more resources to come.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.